On a wonderful Iowa City evening in mid-February, I would like to welcome everyone here. It's a new episode of Education Exchange, the most popular program on cable TV in the nation. And again, lots of smiles from our audience, from our guests. And I would like, number one, to welcome our guest, Mr. Craig Hansel. Is the Chief Financial Officer of the Iowa City Community School District. On my right-hand side, a very distinguished man. We are a little nervous before we met him because we know this is a critical meeting tonight. And we'll probably speak less than usual. Elwie and I, we speak a lot usually. Mm-hmm. But this time we are going to speak less and let you do the performance. But I would like to welcome Elwie, April, Harris, my co-host here. And the cameraman today is our chief director of this show, Mr. Michael Peterson. Mm-hmm. And behind the glass door is John Karhoff, the father or the godfather of this program many years ago. Mm-hmm. So let me start. You have been to this show many, many times. Mm-hmm. And we are so excited of having you tonight. Mm-hmm. It's a very important, let us say, crossroads for education, not only in our country, but in particular in this city, mm-hmm. which has been known always as having a very distinguished and excellent educational service. Mm-hmm. Now there are a lot of changes. Demographic changes, philosophical changes, administrative changes that would affect our plans for the future. And back in the year 2013, the Board of Education in Iowa City here, Community School District, had approved the Master Strategic Plan. Mm-hmm. And then things after that came, and other issues came, and eventually we ended up now with a situation that yes, our master plan will go ahead as it was designed, with all the projects mm-hmm. that will be covered. And I would like you to tell me now, what is the difference between the master plan as it was and now, and how this is going to affect our schools and community?
Sure. Well, Hani, thank you, and Elwie, thank you for being the host this evening. I always appreciate coming and talking with you. And for our listeners, just really enjoy having an opportunity to serve as the Chief Financial Officer for the Iowa City Community School District. It's I'm almost to the end of my 5th year, if you can believe that already, Hani. So, you know, time flies. Right. It really does. But it's been an exciting time to be here. And I have learned that this community does support education very much since I've been here. And so this is an easy discussion to have. I really believe that it is. But let me take us back just a little bit, and let's talk about after we had our community support our revenue purpose statement, which allowed us to actually spend the 1-cent sales tax dollars in 2013. We engaged the community in a process whereby we had hundreds and hundreds of community members involved with constructing this facility master plan. What should it look like? What buildings should it touch? To what extent should renovations be done and develop capacity for our growing school district? We were behind. If you remember, Hani, we had over 60 modular classrooms in use, and that's less than optimal. It really is. When you send kids outside during the day, you send them into these modular classrooms. We needed to build capacity. And we were so far behind in that whole process, and children were coming, and more children were coming, and more children were coming, and we really needed to get a handle on this. So you're right, in December of 13, we put together, or the board approved this facility master plan that was developed by the community and had so much community input. As an administrative team then, we got busy and we started implementing this facility master plan. And I have a slide that I'd like to put up to just kind of show you the projects that we've been engaged in. But this first slide, it'll show the current or completed projects that we currently have going on. And right now, we've touched, it's actually the second slide if you want to put that up, Penn Elementary, Twain, Alexander, of course, is a new building. Liberty High School is a new comprehensive high school. Also, New Hoover out on the east side of town. It was the first elementary built in Iowa City in over 40 years. And so we're just excited to have had an opportunity to really transform the 21st century learning environment in these facilities that we've been able to touch. Lucas, West, Longfellow, Van Allen, Weber, Hills, Coralville Central, and even City High. They've all had significant improvements and renovations done along with these 3 new buildings that we've been building. So we're building that capacity out. We're really trying to address our overcrowding problems that we've had, plus just improve the learning environment that we've had. And so the facility master plan was constructed in 2 parts, and we always told the community, Hani, that the first half of the projects were going to be done under what we call the 1-cent sales tax. And we were able to do those projects, and we were able to get them done through that revenue purpose statement that the community supported. Now that we're done with the first half of the facility master plan, it's amazing that 5 years have gone by so quickly, but we're actually planning ahead for the second half of the projects. And so what we're working with right now is that the second half of the facility master plan has always been designed to be funded with a bond. And we can go and we can discuss that in a little bit more detail, but as we will on this program. But we need to engage the community now again, and we need to appeal to our stakeholders to come out and vote. And we need to have them consider whether or not they really want to do the second half of this facility master plan. And I would love to share with our with our community that the first half has gone extraordinarily well. We've been on time, we've been on budget, we've been responsible with those dollars. We've spent them for exactly what we said we were going to spend them for exactly the purpose we said we were going to spend them for. And I feel very, very good about the progress that we've made at implementing this community developed plan.
Okay, let's see our next slide.
Okay. Hani, the next couple slides are projects that require bond funding. And as you can see up here, we have Southeast Junior High. It's feeling a lot of pressure from students right now. We have a lot of special programming at Southeast Junior High where we have smaller class sizes for special education and those kind of things. And it just needs more space. We just need a lot more space. We had a demographer come in and do 10 years worth of projections, and that report came to the board in December of this last December, 2016. And we took that information and we actually modified the original plan, or the plan that was revised in 15. We modified that capacity for each one of these buildings. Southeast, Southeast Junior High was one of those buildings where we adjusted the capacity a little bit. But all of these projects that you see up on the screen right now, City High Phase 2, West Phase 2, Shimmick, Tate, Horn, Liberty, Lemmy, Borlaug, And yes, Alexander again, these are all projects that are going to be touched by the bond if that were approved by the community. And so we've made the case that in order to do the second half of the facility master plan, that we just need the community to consider these projects. And if we go back one slide, you can see some of the other projects to be funded for Mann, Lincoln, North Central, Wood, Garner, Northwest Junior High, Wickham, and Kirkwood. So we're touching a lot of schools in this bond. There's something in every sector of our community and a building that still needs to be transformed, still have that 21st century learning environment improved that we told the community we were going to do.
With the bond vote, pardon me, in place, and let's say we come from an agreeing community, how will this affect the taxpayers, our taxpayers?
Sure. Well, that's always the bottom line, isn't it? When you go to the community and you want the community to consider spending more money on their schools, you have to give them a reason why. And the thing that really, from my chair, from the CFO's chair, is that we're spending it on our children, and I can't think of a better way to spend your money.
A better investment.
It's a huge investment, and it's a quality investment, and it's an investment that's exciting to see happen.
It gives to the communities and
exactly,
yeah, absolutely,
exactly. So I think the reason sells itself. It's for our children. Okay, but still, we need to be responsible about that because taxes are taxes, right? And we have to be really cognizant of what kind of burden we're putting on our community. And so I brought a couple slides with us that I thought would be insightful, I guess, and to try and answer your question directly from a chief financial officer's point of view. You can talk to the educators all you want about the education piece, right? But you have me here this evening, so we're going to have to talk some numbers, if that's okay with you.
I'm okay with that.
So why don't you put up the next slide? And a lot of people, this whole idea of what's a GO bond, what's a GO bond, okay? And I hear that all the time. Well, what's a GO bond? Well, it's simply Iowa Code 75, and it gives the school district permission to borrow money, and borrowing money based on our ability to tax for the interest and principal payments to repay that loan. So it's not unlike when you go to borrow money on your house, right? The bank checks your income level and they say that you can make those payments, and so they'll loan you $100,000 on your house, and you repay that in 15, 20, 30 years depending on the length of the loan, and you pay back on principal and interest out of your income stream. It's the same thing for a school district, only we use property tax because we're a taxing entity, right? So we go out and we borrow money, and then we tax back on property for principal and interest. And so it does have a direct bearing on our tax rate. And so that's just exactly how it works.
And you expect that this would be approved? What's your prediction? I mean, I think we alluded to the fact that we are in a growing community, and a lot of people read the USA Today, sure, and they know that this is a good community for retirement. So we are increasing, as a matter of fact, as far as the people who are not so young, and so they don't have kids in school.
Right.
How we are going to sell the idea to them?
Well, I've got a couple of ideas, and I'm not going to share a prediction with you because I don't really, right, I'm not really into predictions per se. But I would like to address the whole idea of the tax burden yet that we have, and how Iowa City has such an advantage over every other school district in the state of Iowa. You can throw up the next slide if you want, and this is one that's really pretty insightful, I believe. When we have the 10 largest school districts in the state of Iowa, and of those 10 largest school districts, Iowa City is ranked 5th as far as enrollment. We're the 5th largest school district in the state of Iowa. And, and yet, we have the very lowest tax rate of any of the 10 largest school districts in the state of Iowa. In fact, our tax rate is just 1 penny shy of $1 less than the district that's directly above us, which is Dubuque, and it's number 9 for having the lowest tax rate of the top 10. So you can see that we're way below in the whole area of our levy rate. And then if you look at the average up here, you can see that at 16.29 per thousand, we're $2.31 below the average of the top 10 school districts in the state of Iowa. So what's that tell you? Well, what it tells me is that, first of all, we're very fortunate to have a very strong taxing base here in this community, okay? Even when you take out all the university property and everything that's exempt, we have a very strong, robust economy here. And second of all, we give a very good value for our dollar invested. In Iowa City, because we have the lowest tax rate of the 10 largest school districts in the state, I feel we give an exceptional value to all of our stakeholders in this community. And let me give you an example of that. Just last week, West Branch went out to vote for a general obligation bond. And their community turned down that bond. Okay,
Right.
They didn't reach the 60% threshold that you need. But just to give you an idea, and this is just an illustration, they were asking for $18 million, and it was going to raise their taxes $2, and I think it was around $2.30, $2.40 per thousand on their tax base, okay? In comparison, our facility master plan is calling for $188 million. Now that's a lot of money, right? But on our tax base, it would only increase our taxes a maximum of $1.62 per thousand. So you can see the huge difference on the tax rate of
Between the two neighbors.
between two neighboring school districts.
Right.
Exactly. We have some information up here on the screen that I just kind of wanted to go over with you really quickly. Just to reinforce that the first half of the facility master plan was funded using the 1 cent sales tax, okay? And we always told our community that's the way it would work. But the second half has to be funded through property tax, all right? We spent about $158.9 million in the first half of doing all these projects, on which $141 million was from SAVE, or the 1 cent sales tax. The district needs $188 million to finish out the last 5 years of the facility master plan. We've already showed you the projects that would cover, all right? The money would be borrowed over a period of years as the projects required it. So our taxes wouldn't go up immediately. They would go up incrementally because we wouldn't borrow all the money at once. We couldn't possibly do all of our projects at one time, so we would just borrow that incrementally. As I mentioned, we're the 5th largest in the state. Our current tax rate is $13.99, which gives us the lowest tax rate of the largest 10 schools. And then finally, on the second page of this of the slides, you can see that our tax rate is $2.31 lower than the average of the 10 largest schools. What we're asking for to finish out the facility master plan is only $1.62 per thousand, which for a typical homeowner in Iowa City would be less than $16 a month invested in our kids. And I think that's what we really have to drive home, It's a pretty small sacrifice per month to have this massive investment to improve the educational facilities for our children and to build that capacity. The facility master plan, when we're all done, we hope to reduce our modular fleet by over 50% and have kids in brick and mortar classrooms, which would be nice, right? And here's one thing that our community may not know, but over the last 5 years, we've grown by over 1,500 students at a rate of over 300 students per year. And our demographer tells us that that trend isn't going to stop anytime soon, that we're going to continue to grow. And we need places for these children to come in and be educated.
This all sounds so wonderful and well planned, the master plan. And I'm wondering, what if the bond issue fails to get the community's support?
Right.
What happens?
Right. Well, it's a high threshold. We have to reach 60% in order to pass a general obligation bond. And as you are well aware, getting 60% of people to agree on anything could be a real task, right? So it's not something that we're just taking for granted. We know that we need to earn the community's trust, and I believe we have. We've, with fidelity, have completed the first half of the facility master plan, and we've shown that we have followed through with our word, and we're going to do that with the second half. And so if the community would choose not to pass this bond, then everything stops. There are no monies in other places that we can do these renovations or build extra capacity or build the buildings that we need for the extra students that we're going to be receiving each year. So all of this stops, and at this point in time, that's what would happen to our facility master plan. It would just simply, we would stop.
Frozen.
We would stop working on it because there's not a funding source behind all of those final projects.
Well, I think in Iowa City in particular, and without getting so deep into the divisions and subdivisions of politics that is polarizing our communities all over the nation right now, I think Iowa City is very supportive of public education in general. And there are many other communities, even around us here, who are more for privatization and more for parochial schools and charter schools and so forth. But in Iowa City, I see that predominantly most of the people who live in this city are supportive of public education. So I think we have hopes.
We do.
That they will show that they will not just talk the talk, but walk the walk now.
I would agree with you completely.
Highly needed, more than protesting in the streets and all that, But show us the meat,
right,
as they say.
Right. We do have a supportive community, and our final slide up here. We need to talk about what are our next steps.
Okay,
right?
Let's go for it.
So our community needs to know where we're going with this. And so what we're doing now is we're finalizing all these bond project costs, okay? And then the school board will review the bond language. And once that's in place, we need to circulate a petition in our community to gather over 1,400 signatures. And when those are done, they come back to the board, and then the board will fix the date for the referendum, which is actually September 12th, 2017. And that's the process that we have in front of us. So we have a lot of work to do yet, but we're excited, and we're going to be educating the community. We're going to have materials on our website. And in fact, the board is going to be reviewing some of those materials tomorrow night at their board meeting.
And I think Elwie was very correct when she said that this scenario is very well designed and tight and precise, and we hope that you are going to have all the support of our community here. Craig, we are always welcome here.
Thank you.
Whenever you have some news for us, because we really value your contribution to this program very much.
Thank
I would like to take the chance to thank Public Access TV for giving us the chance to do that. Thanks to Louis and Trenton, who's the Chief Director here, with Michael Peterson, the founder of this program, with John Karhoff. I would like to thank you very, very much for your
welcome.
time.
Thank you.
We know your time is very valuable, and we wish you all the best and all the advancement that you want to create in our community to
Thank
come
you.
true.
Thank you.
To our audience, thank you very much for watching. We are on channel 18, channel 21, on regular old-fashioned TV. If you are high definition, go to the 800 numbers and search for us. We are on the listing. We are on YouTube tonight. So you can click on YouTube if you fail to get us on your computer, and we will welcome you anytime. Welcome any concerns that you have. Send me a letter, send Alois, send all the other producers. And thanks to the school district for what they do for our community.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Ladies and gentlemen, have a very good night from Iowa City and enjoy a wonderful evening in mid-February, the year 2017.
It is.
get you divorced.
Yeah, okay. I'm just gonna keep talking.
Okay, are you checking the
Yeah.
mic? I'll sit here and talk.
Okay. Cool,
So that
cool.
we can find out if people in the front can
Yeah,
hear.
just
or
keep
people in the
continuously talking. And
back. Yeah,
see.
I'm good at that. I
see
can
what
talk.
happens.
Big,
as
I
well.
wasn't a big fan of Rahm Emanuel or whatever his name was either. He was not a good. Yeah.
Why do we want to find somebody who actually knows anything about education?
Well,
Not going to be me.
yeah.
Don't ask me questions, please.
Well, that just seems to me that that's the kind of people, they should look for people that know something about the department they're heading up instead of just because they donated
Yep.
$200 million to you.
Yep. That's
Or
all
your
it
friends.
takes.
Yeah.
Really good point.
Which means I'm never
Yeah.
gonna get,
I think it sounds pretty decent. You're coming in, I think Mike's coming in slightly quieter than you are, so we might just want to adjust it more towards the front, kind of pointing back. Of the risers?
put it,
But other than that, it sounds fine. Maybe Mike's just a quiet talker.
yeah, I don't think so.
No.
Can you, and then, can't, it's coming nice and clear?
It's pretty good.
I'm like, is he speaking a foreign language?
Just gonna start speaking in tongues and see
Yeah.
how it comes through.
Yeah.
I think that already sounds better, so maybe we can bring the kids in and
Yeah, because the mics are not, I mean, at least
Yeah.
now it's more in line with the front.